Welcome to TJ's podcast.
Hey, there's my buddy Riggins right there.
Good morning.
And Riggins, only a 3-day work week. How about that?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, so you got a lot of grilling to do over the holidays. So are you going to visit your parents on the 4th since you just saw them?
Probably not.
No.
I did. Well, I just saw my mom. Oh my gosh, and it's a crazy scene going on in their house over the weekend. So my oldest nephew, cut his foot playing football or something, and then went home. They live on I think it's the Chattahoochee.
Oh, yeah.
Is that run through Georgia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he went in the Chattahoochee and got himself an infection, and he's got 2 younger brothers. So my dad went down to Georgia to pick him up so he could have a weekend at his grandparents' house, and they were going to pamper him. Mm-hmm. So I walk in on Saturday, and he's playing Fortnite. I smell desserts being baked. There's Chick-fil-A on the counter.
Because he was the first grandchild, too,
He's
right?
the prince, the king. And he's got a stack of brand new boxes of Lego sets, which, if you know anything about Legos, he probably had $500 worth of Lego sets stacked up next to him. Now, I don't know if my brother and his wife gave those to him for a weekend at Mimi and Pops' house, or my parents kicked in for that. But he was sitting there building some sort of Iron Man Lego set, feet kicked out, hair sticking out all sides. And my mom's making muffins, and she's got, the Chick-fil-A, and she's just watching him play Fortnite. So, it was like a whole thing going on over there.
So how is his infection?
It's fine. It's like on the bottom of his toe, but they put him on like 80 milligrams of antibiotics. They said it's normal for like 5. He's on 80. So they gave him all kinds of medicine and stuff like that, but it looked fine.
So they live on the river, and do they have a little dock out there that he jumps off of and swims and stuff, or is he just wading out in there doing like little country boy things?
They go down there. My brother fishes, and they go swimming in the river. There's some sort of public access point to the river, but they live within walking distance to it.
Okay.
So I guess he didn't have his injury properly taped up, or I don't know.
Yeah, Alan Jackson, the country music legend, is from Georgia.
Yeah.
Thus, the way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, never knew how much that muddy water meant to me.
Yeah.
So, I guess they don't want the staph infection up in that cut.
Yeah, maybe not.
That's bad business.
I figure if you're going to get an infection in any river, it's going to be the damn Chattahoochee. I mean, it sounds like
I got a damn Chattahoochee infection.
Well, he was in good spirits. So, yeah, I saw my mom, and she was like, "Oh, I thought you were going to stay longer." I was like, "No, you got like a whole scene going on over here. I'm going back home. I got grilling to do."
So, how old is Banks now?
He is 10.
Wow, 5th grade.
Yeah.
Going into the 5th grade?
Mm-hmm. Real smart.
Whew.
Dangerously smart.
Oh,
really funny.
I'm sure. I don't doubt that for a second.
Yeah. Good.
Because his mama's family's really smart.
That is true. And they've done a good job. They only watch TV and play on the internet on the weekends. Like, that's it. Mm-hmm. No iPad time, none of that stuff. So
they outside a lot. They play outside.
They're in the river. But when he's at Mimi and Pop's house, it's Fortnite, it's Chick-fil-A, it's donuts, it's Legos. It's crazy. Anything goes.
It's hard though when you got an infection, and he's got an infection in his toe, for him to be outside playing and stuff. He's got to have inside stuff to do.
Yeah.
And donuts.
Yeah, and donuts. And my dad was going to take him out on the golf cart. He loves going on the golf cart, so they were going to do that. Mm-hmm. And it's like a whole thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, they love it. I mean, as much as they're like, "Oh, we got craziness going on in here," they absolutely revel in it.
And that's what retired people are supposed to do. Stuff exactly like that. Your dad is supposed to drive 4.5 hours to Atlanta to pick him up, and drive 4.5 back, and then drive him all the way back home when it's time to go back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they love it.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Now, will they have to come back and do stuff for all the other grandchildren
I don't know.
to make up for it? Because, they got like 30 grandkids now, don't they?
Yeah, there's 6 total. But I think if I'm one of my brothers and I see one kid getting the royal treatment, I would feel a little bit burned if my kids don't get the same. But they, my mom always says, around Christmas, she goes, what I do for one, I do for the other. And she really follows through with that stuff. So I don't doubt within a reasonable amount of time that they're all going to get the same thing.
Mm-hmm. But your middle brother's kids live a lot closer.
Yeah.
And so they're probably around them more
Yeah.
than your older brother's kids.
Yeah. And I think there's some sort of, will you spend more time with them? I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like my kids with Jody's parents, they live 14 and a half hours away driving, and they always have. They've never lived close to any of their grandparents. But then Jody's sister has these twins, and they've grown up right there in the same town with them.
Yeah.
But my kids never said anything, like they were jealous or whatever, because they were a little older when these Louisiana children were born. But the Louisiana children, the twins, are they're old enough to where sometimes one of them will say, I'm going to go spend the weekend with Mimi and Granddaddy. They're in middle school now. And so one of them will go and get the whole hang out with the grandparents all weekend and all like this. And my kids have said things like, I wish we could have done that.
Yeah.
I wish we could have done that.
I had a similar situation. I grew up next to one set of grandparents, and we just naturally, because the proximity, I used to do it all the time. Just stay over the night, stay over the weekend, and yeah, you get that. But it was really a distance thing.
Yeah. And I mean, there's no way around it. As hard as you try, you're going to end up being closer to the grandkids that you see all the time.
Yeah.
So your parents, no matter how much they try, are always going to be closer to Kevin's kids than Matt's kids.
Well, that's not helpful. That's not helpful. Or they might try to.
I'm just kidding.
They might
I'm
try
kidding.
to overcompensate and do more for those kids and that they don't see as often.
I was just joking because I know my daughter listens to this podcast all the time, and she'd be thinking that about her grandparents.
Maybe.
But I mean, she not only was the first girl grandchild, she was the first grandchild in general.
Yeah.
On Jody's parents' deal, but my parents had nothing but my brother had three sons, and so they'd never had a girl grandchild, or some people call them a granddaughter.
Somewhat.
Yeah. So then that's what Lainey was to them, and I don't think they liked it at all.
It's a family of boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one girl in our family, my only niece, she gets different treatment than the rest of the boys.
Yeah.
I mean, she is the princess, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Rightfully so. I guess that makes sense.
But Jody's sister is way more demanding as far as needing attention all the time than Jody is. So
Yeah.
that's why she's never been able to move away from her mommy and daddy and all of that. And so she's constantly jumping up and down. Look at me.
Who moved closer to who? The parents or Jody's sister? Or they just were always in the same town?
They were always in the same town. See, I took Jody away from all of that. So when she married me is when...
You broke up the family.
Yeah. So it all comes down to me that whenever my kids feel like that they were, cheated out of things with their grandparents, it's my fault,
Sure.
because I dragged their mother away.
Kicking and screaming.
Yeah. But it's water under the bridge now.
Not much you
Can't do about it.
Yeah.
But no, that is I was just joking about all that stuff, except the stuff about Jody's sister.
That is absolutely true.
100%. 100%.
I only met her one time, but I liked her.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I did.
Nobody does. I'm kidding. I love my sister-in-law. I got two of them. My brother's wife is my sister-in-law, and Jody's sister is my sister-in-law, and I love them both.
Yeah.
Even though it's very, very difficult for people to do so on both sides there. They're hard to love.
Yeah.
But that just shows how great I am, emotionally and all, to be able to do it.
Absolutely.
All right. So, where are millennials? What is their favorite tattoo now? The millennials. We got some tattoo artists weighing in on it, and it's pretty interesting, and also proves something that I always say and complain about. Coming up next,
TJ's Podcast.
we're here with our friend Richard Toccato from the Richard Toccato Companies, and Richard, people have credit card bills, and they need to use that equity, don't they?
That's right. Use the equity in your home, restructure your debt, save yourself a bunch of money, and it's easy. We've got the instant equity. It's simple. They make you an offer. You can close in 4 days, get your money that quick. Ace, you've done it.
Yeah, I've done it. It'll change your life in virtually no time. Starts with a free 5-minute phone call, 704-800-4719, or online at homewithrichard.com. The Richard Toccato Company.
Richard Toccato Companies, Equal Housing Opportunity, NMLS number 38652.
They say there are only two things certain in life: sweet deals at Sweet Dreams and taxes.
And only one of those is certain this month.
Which one?
The sweet deals at Sweet Dreams.
What about the taxes?
No sales tax the entire month of April at Sweet Dreams.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And don't call me Shirley.
Love where you live, Lake Norman, and pay no sales tax during the month of April. Only at Sweet Dreams Furniture and Mattress.
Back to TJ's Podcast.
So the millennials who listen and watch the stuff that we do here on the Ace and TJ network, the millennials get mad at me a lot because I talk about how destructive adults who refuse to grow up are to our society and our culture. And that millennials oftentimes get put into a category called kidults, and they think it's a good thing to be called a kidult, which is a kid and an adult that doesn't want to mature and do adult things. I first began calling it adult adolescence or chronic immaturity. Adult adolescence was the main term that I used, and then they came up with a category for it for marketing of products and things called kidults to make it seem cute and adorable. But millennials always said I didn't know what I'm talking about because playing video games is not a kid's thing anymore, and all of those nostalgic kind of deals. Putting together Legos as a 40-year-old is not childish or immature. They just argue about it. So this is a video of tattoo artists, various tattoo artists who are saying the popular tattoos that millennials used to get versus what they get now. Okay? So listen carefully.
What is a common millennial tattoo trend?
So millennials used to get Harry Potter tattoos, specifically the Deathly Hallow symbol. They are now getting cover-ups of those tattoos.
Frog in a cowboy hat.
I think it used to be cursive, and now it's cursive but really spread out.
Disney tattoos. Cartoons or like spooky cartoons.
I definitely saw my share of infinity symbols and little lotus flowers.
Those are so true, though. You see those exact tattoos all the time. The frog and the cowboy hat, I don't think I've ever seen. But the other ones, you see all the time.
Yeah. I hope that one woman tattoo artist is anonymous and they don't know where to find her because of this video, the one that said Disney tattoos, and then they showed some of the work. I hope Disney isn't able to track her down and hit her with a cease and desist and all of that, because they're bad business when it comes. They do not play when you're reproducing a Disney copywritten picture or something.
Yeah. What's the stupidest one of all those? To me, it's the Disney character.
You think that's stupider than Harry Potter?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would probably think Harry Potter.
in that Deathly Hallows one. We know people with that Deathly Hallows tattoo, and he was like, yeah, they're all getting filled in. It's just like this symbol from the books. But getting it filled in is like, ooh, I screwed up.
Because at least the Disney ones are cute and I don't know, widespread enough that people, wouldn't automatically just look at it and go, this person's crazy for getting a Mickey Mouse tattoo. But if you're getting something from a children's book tattooed onto you, that's...
Let it go.
Yeah, and it's a specific, like with witches and wizards and all of that kind of stuff. I don't know. But you say you think people are cooler who have Harry Potter than Disney.
Not much. Not much. I mean, we're really splitting hairs at this point. I mean, they're both stupid. But I can only because I've read Harry Potter growing up, and I understand why people love it because they were great books when I was 11. Would I get it tattooed at 37? No, I wouldn't. But the cursive one, I don't, it's spaced out cursive. It's hard to read. I don't totally get that trend.
See, and that's the same thing with tattoos and personalized license plates. If you're getting a personalized license plate or a tattoo and you're the only person that knows what it means, then why are you doing it? I'll see these personalized license plates all the time, and I can't solve the puzzle or tell you what it says or why. Sometimes I can tell you what it says, but why? Yeah. What's the purpose of having that?
There's actually a trend of people doing this tattoo. It's from the Bible. It basically shows all these sheep at the top of a hill, then a little line, and then a little stick figure, and then one more sheep. And it's a reference to a Bible verse that says, a shepherd will leave his flock to bring in the one that's gone astray. Mm-hmm. But there's no word. None of that language is on there. It's just the sheep at the top of the hill, the bottom of the hill, the shepherd, and the... So now you got to... It's like right below your nipple, and now you've got to recite a Bible verse. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, anytime somebody's got to ask you what it means or something, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't seem worth it to me.
No.
So, I saw this last week. It's a video that, it really made the rounds in the conservative media, which I consider myself to be a part. And it is an adult woman sitting in the middle of the floor, cross-legged, with her arms wrapped around herself. And she's sitting in the middle of the floor, just rocking back and forth and boo-hooing, crying hysterically and talking while she's crying. And she calls this reparenting herself. Because obviously she wasn't parented properly by her real parents. So now that she's an adult, she also has blue hair, and it looks like a protester. It looks like a professional protester. So this is what it sounds like.
I'm here. I'm here, and I know you're scared. I know you don't know what to do. But I've got you, and I won't leave you. And I love you, and I'm so sorry that you're scared. But it's okay to feel. It's safe to feel. It's safe to cry. It's safe to move through it.
Okay, and it goes on like that for another 30 seconds or so. Yeah, obviously this woman is hurting.
Yes.
And I don't know, maybe her parents were terrible to her. Maybe they deserted her. Maybe they did whatever. But what good does it do to video yourself doing that? Because she had to, that wasn't just an impromptu, this is what happened. And she had to plan that. She had to set up the camera just right. She had to get in the floor in position and start all of that talking to herself and all of that stuff. She had to hit stop when it was over and then go edit it and put music behind it and do all of that stuff and then post it. Yeah. So when you do things like that, I think it makes it automatically turn into a performance rather than something genuine. It's just like I talk about with these people eating in the car. You didn't just go to the drive-thru and get all of these things, and now you've pulled over because you couldn't wait to eat them, and you're in the parking lot of the restaurant. Because I've seen people try potato chips that they had heard about, and then they eat it in the car. I've seen people sitting in their driveways eating the stuff in the car. So once you do that, it's not, and I don't think these people are trying to pull it off as just an impromptu real thing happening in the moment. But you look at that and you see it's a performance. So it's the same thing with somebody who's crying on social media with music in the background and the description going across like a closed caption or whatever. It's not a real thing at that point. It's a performance.
Yeah. And it's a lot more serious when you're talking about trauma from childhood versus eating a Big Mac in 3 bites.
Right.
That's innocent fun, it seems like.
Sure.
But this is like, what is going on? What's going on? And maybe you're trying to help people that, you think could also benefit from reparenting, whatever the hell that means. But it's 100% a performance.
Yeah. And it's for whatever reason. There could be legitimate emotional reasons that and scars that you got from childhood. But whatever the reason is it is a cry for attention. That's the thing that drives this sort of thing the most is I want attention.
Maybe.
Which is the same reason you get your hair turned blue and, all of these other things because you feel like you're not getting the attention that you deserve. So you do these things that are, no matter how you want to position it, they are out of the norm still. It's not normal to have blue hair.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's not bad to have blue hair, but it's just not normal. So when people have bright blue hair, you look at them and go, oh, well. So that's attention they're getting. And it's attention that they feel like they need because of insecurities that they have for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of them do join into these crazy groups and stuff because they feel like somebody else understands them, So this is a group that understands me because I'm marginalized and I'm this or that. So let's go do what they're doing. They're protesting this or that or whatever. But she needs to be, get off the internet and talk to somebody who can really help you.
Yeah.
Because you need it.
Rocking, to yourself on the living room floor. It's like, go get a therapist. Go see a therapist.
Or a preacher.
Yeah, or a preacher.
Go get the Lord in your life.
Yeah.
Something.
She's the polar opposite of you and I, because you and I got too much attention when we were young. Didn't we? We kind of did.
Yeah, I can accept that. All right. So, stupid showbiz stuff coming up next.
More of TJ's podcast is coming up.
Our friend Richard Toccato from the Richard Toccato Companies is here, and we're talking about home improvement. That doesn't just mean like my wife thinks our home would improve if I left it. That's not what that means, is it?
Yeah, for Jody, that would probably help her out. But for everybody else, we need a sun deck or they want a backyard kitchen. It's an easy phone call to 704-800-4719 or log on to homewithrichard.com.
Now, you've got the money in your home. Let Richard find it. HomeWithRichard.com. It's the Richard Toccato Companies.
Richard Toccato Companies, Equal Housing Opportunity, NMLS number 38652.
When it comes to losing weight, sometimes you don't even know where to start. You know that it needs to happen, but you need some help. Well, you start by going to acetj.com/weight loss and ordering Calitrin. Calitrin is scientifically proven to help you lose weight, and it is not a drug. It is not a drug. Repeat that. So here's what you do. You go to acetj.com/Calitrin, order 3 months, and then you'll get 3 months free. 4 months, 4 months free. That's how it works with Calitrin.
Welcome back, world, to TJ's podcast.
Before we get to the stupid celebrity stuff, I want to ask your opinion on something, Riggins. May I call you Riggins?
Sure.
All right. There's a little town in the county in which I live in North Carolina. And I've told you that I've been going and walking this trail that's been built in this little town, little walking trail. And I like it. Ooh, and I like it. Getting some exercise, old people exercise, you know. So part of the trail goes past a recreation center. It's a county recreation center. And there's a huge pool out there that people go to as part of the recreation center. It's the public pool. Now, when I was a kid, that's where we went most of the time to swim. Not many of my friends had pools when I was growing up. So we would go to the rec, we called it. And the rec would charge you 35 cents to swim as long as you wanted to the whole day, and have a basket for your stuff. You could put your stuff in a basket. That was 35 cents. So I walk by this place several times a week now, and I see that it's mainly kids and moms of little kids. The bigger kids are there by themselves, but then they're moms, and then there are a bunch of little kids and all of that. And it looks really nice. And because I'm, just curious if it works the same way it did when I was a kid, I want to walk over there to them and ask questions of the people, not the people at the pool, but the other people. Like, how much does it cost to swim for the day?
Yeah.
And do you get a locker? All of these things, inquire about it. Well, how long are you open? Or whatever.
Yeah.
But a guy who's my age, not old enough to be considered a cute old man, but old enough to be, suspected as being a creep.
What's that age?
One, well, I mean, it's when you're still, agile and with it and all of that, but you're not so old that you're, feebly walking up there like a true old man would be.
Harmless.
Yeah.
You could still
little old man. You think, oh, little old man.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of leery about that, just as out of curiosity, wanting to know how it works and all that. Not that I'm going to go, but if one day I did decide, hey, they've got lounge chairs out here. Sure. I live in this county. Yeah. I pay taxes.
Yeah.
So maybe one day I want to just go put my earbuds in and sit in the lounge chair.
Absolutely.
I know good and well that I'd be looked at in a crazy way then.
Do you think?
Oh, yeah. Just going out to the recreation center pool by myself with all the kids and the moms.
Yeah, I was a member of the aquatic center in my town last year to go in the pool and stuff like that. And I get what you're saying, but I also think it's a lot of overthinking. Like, they're not looking at you.
But this is not an aquatic center. This is a recreation center out where there are ball fields and things like that.
Why don't you go?
Because the aquatic center, you're a member there. You got to pay a membership.
Well, you probably have to be a member at this place, don't you?
That's what I'm wanting to know. Back when I was a kid, there was no membership. It was all public doings.
We had that too.
And then you just pay $35. Your parents drop you off and give you 35 cents for the day, and you're there.
Yeah, ours was a couple of bucks, but you did have to sign in and stuff on like a little sign-in sheet. But I'm sure it's on the website how much it costs.
Yeah, I guess.
But then, as you're walking by, you could just kind of suss it out and decide, how many people is too many people for me to comfortably lie here on a lounge chair. Lay here on a lounge chair.
This is weird.
Is it a big pool?
Yeah. It's not as big as the pool that was at my recreation center growing up.
Yeah.
But it's big. It's got, a little waterfall for the kids and the whole thing.
Oh, I wouldn't hesitate to do that.
To go there or to ask?
To either one.
Okay.
That's what they're there for. But I would first go on the website and see, like, what's the policy? I'm sure the information is over there.
Yeah. You have to be, between, a baby and 50 or, say, 75 and up.
Yeah. You're in
None
the
of those
danger zone.
middleman.
You still impose a threat on the fine folks of this town, being just an old pervy man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, stupid celebrity stuff. Justin Timberlake made, it's a big story, and then celebrity gossip that he made a joke on stage about DWI. After he got his DWI, he's now joking about it. And Riggins doesn't like Justin Timberlake anyway.
No, I don't. I've cooled off on him, though, considerably over the last year, because I was harsh on him.
Mm-hmm.
Before anybody was talking trash about Justin Timberlake, I said, I don't like this guy. And I never did.
Yeah.
And then that story Brittany put out in her book, him running into, who was it? Juvenile or no. Cameron, somebody like, faux shiz. I guarantee, I believed it in a second the moment I heard it. I went, he absolutely did that. I haven't liked that guy for a long time, but I cooled off on him in the last year. And now everybody hates him. Mm-hmm. Now he's like public enemy number one. So I was just ahead of the curve, I guess.
So I saw this thing on the internets.
That was awful.
Of him, I think somebody was doing a quote unquote fit check on him. And it was the cringiest thing. And I said, I can't wait to send this to Riggins.
I mean, he just came across like such a douche. And he like changes the way he talks depending on who he's around.
Yep.
So he loves, his tongue gets a little thicker when he's, this is my drip. And, first of all, he's wearing gloves, which, what an enormous asshole you have to be to wear gloves inside in the summer. I mean, can you take anybody seriously?
Gloves that match your suit.
Gloves when you're not outside as like a fashion item. I can't take you seriously. And then he's talking about his Gucci custom. Oh, it's like, oh, shut up. Shut up. You're horrifying. You're married to Jessica Biel. It's like a saltine.
And then in the beginning of that, he said something about repping the M or Memphis born or whatever. And how old was he when he wasn't living in Memphis anymore? He's really young, right? Because he moved to Florida.
He was in Mickey Mouse Club when he was 12. So
now just saying you're from Memphis means that you're street or whatever?
I get to Justin Timberlake it does. I'm from the M. No one in Memphis, if you set foot in Memphis, they're going to drop you. And rightfully so.
Straight out the M.
Oh, it's so annoying. And that kind of stuff is what drives me crazy. It's not I like his music. His music's fine. It's good. Mm-hmm. It's his personality that sucks. It's so bad.
Is it mainly because you just think he's fake?
Yeah, basically. Mm-hmm. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I don't like fake.
There's been so many instances of him just being like such a phony. And when it benefits him, he uses his birth location to push his career further. I think it's so gross. But
But you've cooled off on him.
I've cooled off on him a little bit until I see stuff like that, and it just reignites it for me. It's my custom Gucci suit. Shut up.
Well, not to mention, how old is he now?
He's got to be 40.
Yeah,
at least.
Too old to be doing that.
He's too old to be like wearing half gloves. It's like, dude, you are a douche. I just can't stand that guy. But then again, I saw Chris Kirkpatrick. He was performing in a shopping mall, singing "Bye Bye Bye." Yeah, like this past weekend.
Huh.
And he's got like O-Town as his backup singers. Do you remember O-Town?
Yeah.
And they're playing a NSYNC song, and Chris Kirkpatrick's a little chubby. He looks like a dad, It was fine. But I was like, oh man, Justin Timberlake's, that should be Chris Kirkpatrick playing in Boston at the Garden or whatever they have.
So I thought Chris Kirkpatrick was a shoe designer or something.
He might be, but he was definitely, his belly out there, he's going, it's like, oh no. Like right in front of a Claire's. It was kind of depressing. It's Cinnabon and Claire's, and then you have Chris Kirkpatrick in O-Town,
Was Ashley with O-Town?
I don't think
still?
Ashley is part of O-Town anymore. I think it's...
That's the only one I knew from O-Town. I couldn't tell you an O-Town song or anything, but the reason I know Ashley, do you know why I know Ashley?
No.
Because my friend Ace wanted Ashley's hairstyle.
It was kind of like Ryan Cabrera's, wasn't it? Like kind of just spiky and blonde.
He used to talk about liking his hair.
Yeah, Ace has horrible taste in haircuts. He also thinks Keith Urban has good hair. It's like, dude, yeah, Rob liked that one. Keith Urban has for being as rich as he is and talented he has the stupidest haircut. I mean, these curtain kind of bangs. It's like you're 50-something years old. Get a reasonable haircut. You look like an idiot. You look like an idiot. And it's gotten better. It's shortened up, but he used to have like this weird Australian mullet with bangs. It was awful.
And then, of course, Ace has always talked about liking who's the illusionist that he likes?
Oh, Chris Angel.
Chris
exactly.
Angel,
Chris Angel.
yeah.
That's another one. He looks so cool. No, I promise you he doesn't. He doesn't.
He's kind of cool.
He's not.
No, I would never be able to pull off all that.
No, he looks good. Jerk off.
And how old is he? He's in his 50s.
He's got to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't model your style after any magician. I just think this is a rule of thumb. Like there's no magician.
Cool. Yeah, no stylish magicians.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
The Amazing Jonathan did look pretty cool, but I don't think that's sort of the avenue you should go down.
All right. Well, we are out of time.
Good. I'm getting too fired up.
And that's the end of our time.
That's it.
Let's start doing that every day.
Yeah, that's fun.
Okay. And that's the end of our time today. Thank you so much for your support. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Serving the world. It's TJ's podcast.